Hello everyone, Josh here, and today I thought we'd take a look at the unique toy Sharkies. Now these guys come in a 3-pack, and it's based off the Generation 1 Sharkticons that first appeared in the '86 animated movie, but also appeared in several different episodes in Season 3 as well. Now one thing that has kind of always been weird with this guy, or at least to me, is his G1 toy's name is Null instead of Sharkticon, even though in the anime or cartoon they never called him Null, so I'm not really sure. This guy, there's a bunch of them. They're pretty much like, if this was Star Wars, these would be the Stormtroopers. They don't ever call them by names. I don't even know if they have names. But they really don't have any minds of their own. They're basically just commanded by the Quintessons, and they go and do whatever they're told, except for, I guess you could say, except for whenever Grimlock's battling them. And the '86 animated movie, he basically turns these guys against the Quintessons, but later on you find out in Season 3 that, everything's the way it's supposed to be. So anyways, let's take a look at this guy. This is a unique toys version, like I said. There is another third-party version out there, which is made by iGear. This one is cheaper, and it also, in my opinion, looks better. Now, I have this one in hand. I've only seen pictures of the iGear version, so it may improve in some way, but I love the colors of this. I like the posability in both modes. Just the general design of it, I think, looks really cool. So even if you can go in with a buddy, because it is a 3-pack, and I believe as of right now it's going for $90, so it's basically $30 per figure. I think that's a really good buy, in my opinion. I like all three, and I'll show you why. Even though it is a 3-pack and they are kind of clones, they are individual in their own way. But just give you guys a little 360 here. Very cool figure. I do have a couple of complaints, so I will get into those with you. First thing is these little things. Now, it's not major. These things are meant to just be there stationary, but as you can see, they just fall out very easily. And even whenever you get them out of package, more than likely one, if not both of them, are going to be sitting in the tray whenever you first open the box, so they fall out very easily. There's really no reason for them to move, so it's something that not a big deal, because you can end up putting some super glue like I'm going to do, and you can make sure they never move again. The other thing is these little, which are going to be his shoulders in robot mode, they just slide off for no reason. It's not part of transformation. You never have to move those for any reason whatsoever, but for some reason they don't click. They slide on, they slide off. So sometimes they fall off whenever you're doing the transformation. Another thing that I don't know if I'll super glue it, but just to be aware of, just in case you might lose it. So sometimes I take these and take the shoulders off and then do the transformation, but something I wanted to make sure you guys were aware of. Now, the other thing I wanted to point out is on the other two figures, it's perfectly fine. On this side, it's perfectly fine. But on this one, let me focus in there for you. There's like a little scratch, and it came that way out of package, if that's showing up in the light. Very minor, very small. I know there's a couple of other people that have said that they've had it on just one figure, just like me, or it's just been on one eye. Mine's very small, so it really doesn't bother me that much. And the fact that both of these modes look really cool, what I'll probably end up doing is, either way that I do it, I'm going to have some in Sharkticon mode, and I'm going to have some in the robot form. This will be one of the guys that I put in his robot form, that way I don't ever have to look at it, so it's not really going to bother me that much. Other than that, the only thing that I can see that really could improve on the figure is you can kind of see some silver back here. It looks like they had a spot there where they were going to paint it silver. Maybe they missed it, or maybe they just didn't do it to cut costs. But if they would have added some silver, that would have been really nice. It would have made the figure look even better. But still, as it is, very cool. Now, there is a lot of detail. Hopefully all that is showing up on camera, just because this is a kind of a charcoal color there. But if you are a customizer and likes to do some little panel lining work, you can really make this figure probably shine, because it has some nice detail throughout the figure in the mold. As far as the paint goes, I believe this part is painted. Yeah. And all these teeth, they are painted that silver, so it looks really nice. This bottom jaw purple, these little blue pieces are painted. Let me just kind of open that up so you can see that. You can see some red there, which doesn't bleed at all. Same with the silver there. Very nice. I really do dig that. And also, there's also some purple paint here on the sides, which is a different color. Same with one of the other figures, which has a more kind of like little pinkish there. So it looks better instead of it all being the same color of purple. I do like that. It kind of breaks it up a bit. I can see that you've got some, I have no idea what these little are those baby teeth? I have no idea. But a little pink right there as well. They're not as sharp. You can see still got some nice detail, different colors. So it's broken up and different colors all over the figure. So that's something I really do think is pretty cool. I like it. As you saw, the jaw it's part of the transformation, but it does move fully, whatever it needs to do there. You do have the hands that go back and forth, however you need. These legs, they are on this joint that moves around. It also rotates here, just because it is part of that elbow joint for when he's in robot mode. You could spin them out the other way if you wanted. You can make them more straight-legged, I guess, if you wanted to do that. I just kind of like it, a little wider stance, and I think that's cool. And you can see that he balances very nice because of the way the heel spurs are. Now, as far as the tail, it does rotate if you wanted it to, but I mean, it's just because it comes undone. It's his mace whenever he's in robot mode, just like the original G1. So, taking a look at his weapons, you get his mace, not too bad. And you also get this little blaster that has some pretty nice detail in it. I wasn't really expecting a whole lot, especially for the price, and it's one of those kind of old throw-in weapons. I think it looks really nice. So let me put this back in here real quick. Let's do a couple comparisons, and we'll get into the transformation. And why not bring in these guys? When we first were introduced to these, it was whenever Cup and Hot Rod and I believe, Dinobots and stuff like that were on Quintessa, and that's whenever we first saw these guys, and they met these guys. So kind of gives you a little shot there, and to be honest, it's pretty much in scale. That's really nice, really cool. So go ahead and move those out of the way, and there he is real quick with himself in robot mode. So getting into transformation, first thing that I'm going to do here is lift back on this section here and just kind of move those arms down and around and just kind of get those out of the way for now. Pull out the tail, done that already. Pull this section and open that. Then with the arm sections, you can see there's this little joint here. This is going to swing around and go up there. So you can see how this arm is much higher than this one. So you can do the same with this one. Swing that around and up. With this section here, you're going to pull, if you didn't see that, going to pull back here, kind of open his butt, and pull those legs out, spin this around, go ahead and close that back, just connect it there, and pull his legs down. Go ahead and you can plug that into place. You have his mouth down there, you rotate his thighs, and then try to get his head out. There we go. And it actually clicks, so I do like that. It kind of locks into place and clicks, so very nice. And with his hands, you're just going to pull these little heel spur things back down, or whatever you want to call them. Swing his elbows around, and then come out with his hands. One negative on his hands, they just kind of pull, and it's kind of like friction. You just pull and try to get them all the way out there because there's nothing to lock them into place. They just slide back in very easily, and kind of sucks. Wish there was like just a little notch to lock it in, make it a little bit more steady, but fortunately, no. But there he is. Let's cover articulation real quick. It does have a ball joint on his head, so he can kind of move it up and down, rotate it. Shoulder, goes in and out, moves around. He does have that ball joint on the elbow, so it can bend there 90 degrees and also rotate. No movement on the hands, nothing on the waist. He does have there's these little things. Yeah, gonna have to super glue those in once I get done with this. But he does have a ball joint here at the thigh, so that moves around and however you want. Does rotate at the thigh here, bend at the knee, and it also has a nice little ball joint, and it rotates here and all that jazz at his foot. So one thing that I wanted to show you guys is all three other heads, because they all have their own individual head sculpt. If I can get this guy to balance here, there we go. Right, so there's his. It's kind of the blank stare. Looks very nice, and I love the paint on their heads too, with the red eyes. Next guy that's pretty much just like him, but you can see that he's kind of got like a mean mug on his face. He didn't get exactly what he wanted for Christmas, so he's a little pissed. And then you have the one that's even more different than the other two. You can see what I was talking about. He's got kind of this pink here, to where the other ones, they have a little bit more purple there. Doesn't bother me. I like them both. I'm glad that it's kind of a little bit different. But you can see his face, to where he's, I don't know, he's all mad. He's got like fangs and he's like drooling or something. I'm not really sure. But let's go ahead and put all three of them together. And just because of, you can see how wide they are. Sometimes they're a little difficult to get the balance, but I mean, once you get it, then you're good to go. But look at these guys. I mean, pretty much showed you all the detail on it already. It's pretty much the same in robot mode. You got the same problems too, these little things here. But go ahead and get these guys together. That's fine. Come on, dude. Balance for me. There we go. And we'll grab, his little buddy here too. So that is the set right there, and like I said, $90 for 3. It's not too bad in my opinion. Show you real quick. A couple other comparisons, and then we'll be done. Here he is with Cup and Hot Rod again. And I grabbed a few different things to help out. There he is with Masterpiece Frenzy, or Rumble, like I like to call him. Here's another third-party product. This is Fans Project's Car Crash, I believe. Yeah, it's Car Crash Breakdown. You also have Generation 1 Sideswipe. And for you current collectors, it's the only deluxe Generations figure I have. There you go. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I will talk to you later. Very cool figure. I suggest getting it. I like them. So, bye, guys. Have a good day.